I will slowly hand over to Irene, who is the Regional Hub Manager of Asia. Before we start off with the back-to-back 7-minute presentations of our members from all around the world, just if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat function. We will answer any questions we have as we go along. Otherwise, we will make sure that we will get back to you after the virtual impact show. And as I said, also to make sure, please stay tuned. There are incredible projects on the ground. I'm really proud to call this our community, and we are all trying the best together. So Irene, thank you so very much for taking this off, and everybody enjoy.
Thank you so much, Anne. And that is really a meaningful start. And for everyone, it's really a strong reminder that every action we take, no matter how small, contributes to something greater. When we choose to make it count, we shape not only what's possible, but what's lasting. Hello, everyone. Mabuhay from the Philippines. I'm Irene Mecca, and I serve as the Asia Pacific Regional Manager for the long run. And tonight, it's really a privilege to share something close to our hearts, a snapshot of the collective impact we've created, not just as individual members, accommodations and sites or teams, but as a global community who are committed to the 4Cs. And now we get to hear directly how some of the Long Run's trailblazing members are shaping the impact from the ground. Our first day features an exciting lineup who will share how they're leading all these meaningful change in their landscapes or seascapes. And first up, we have Indonesia. And I'd like to welcome Henry Sianipar of Nicoy and Chempedak, who is actually a pioneer in sustainable island tourism. Now, Henry brings insight into how Nicoy and Chempedak's collaboration with local communities and local knowledge encourage conservation through creativity with Ubaruma, also known as the home of change. Henry?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Before jumping to the presentation, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Henry Shanipar. I am responsible for sustainability department on Nicoy and Chempedak Private Islands. A little bit of our company, we are based in Bintan, Rio Island, Indonesia. And Nicoy is one of the GR property. So I'm going to talk about Ubaruma. So what is Ubaruma? Ubaruma meaning is to change home in Malay. A home of change inspired by the Romanic spirit of the Orang Laut from Rio Islands. It seeks to be a home of change, and it is a long-term project hosting artists and researchers whose work focus on notions of hospitality and ecology. And the artist studio and research station are based on Nicoy Island in Bintan. Ubaruma was launched first in April 2020 with the missions to create a home of change and to connect regional artists with nature, community, and hospitality. So at Ubaruma, we ask, how do communities define their boundaries and connection with others? How are humans entangled with and dependent on our evolving ecosystems? What is the role of art in reimagining hospitality and place? Much like hotels offer a home away from home for travelers, Ubaruma offers a living studio within a hotel, a space for artists to create, collaborate, reimagine what hospitality can be through site-specific work, immersive guest experiences, and outdoor art installations across the island. Ubaruma becomes both a sanctuary for creations and a catalyst for dialogue, where art meets ecology and change finds a home. So we invited artists, researchers, and creatives from Southeast Asia to create artwork and experiences to bring the region's rich biodiversity and marine history. So this is the core feature of Living Studio. So it is a space that is activated by each resident during their stay, offering bespoke experiences and engagement opportunities for guests on the island, with key elements hosting artists and researchers whose work engage with ecology, sustainability, and cultural memory. facilitating connections with local communities, materials, and knowledge system unique to Bintan, and space for experimentation, storytelling, and interactions. So the residency recognizes the importance of conservation and seeks to reflect upon the environmental challenges that Bintan faces against a backdrop of rapid economic and local changes in the region. It encouraged collaboration with local communities and local knowledge. It also encouraged conservation through creativity. As you can see in these pictures here, it is an art installment through botanical. So artist residents from Singapore doing the installation with all these plants from Nicoya Island itself. So one of the output of the project is the island become the gallery. So various island sites become open air gallery, sculpture and art created by the residents, and evolving archive of artistic engagement with place and responding to the island's rapid and ecological changes. Here's another output of the residency. As you can see here, the Insect Hotel. It was created by researchers based in Singapore, Wendy Zhang. So her focus on during her residency is into insect diversity that is present on the island. And then in here is Irene, a Malaysian textile artist based in Johor Bahru. So she conducted research the island's natural materials and conduct experiment with them and relations to natural dyeing and repurposing worn out items. And as you can see, here's the repurposing the worn out items from sheets and also another clothing. And this one is an art created by Sakon, an artist from Thailand. So he connects the spirits of nomadic people in Rio Islands. So far, we've been hosting somewhere around 16 different artists, and there will be 3 upcoming artists to our studio. And before going to this, I would like to introduce Mr. Juwadi. He is really an expert in creating a wood print inspired by stories from Nicoya Island staff and his observations of islands and the sea. So looking ahead, we are continuing to activate the studio by future residents. And we are planning to expand of site-specific installations and deeper cross-cultural ecological collaborations. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Henry. Now, that was really interesting. Now, I have a question for you. In terms of inviting all the residents, right, the artists, the conservations, what is your most favorite among all those activities that you've hosted so far at Ubaruma?
Personally, with the natural dyeing and with the insects, because I used to be as a farm manager and I'm still like really into farming and conservation. So the insects like really nice to have it, especially you draw it and then you make the housing for them. So kind of very impactful for me.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's great. And it really shows how passionate you are with your work, being the sustainability manager for both Nicoya and Cempedak, right? I am just also very interested now how guests react whenever you have all these wonderful creations being displayed at Ubaruma.
Some of them are really excited about it, especially the Ubaruma provides kind of space for them to participate as well. So it's not only like you see the results of the Ubaruma citizenship, but it kind of involve you to take part of it. So far, most of the kids enjoying it, and then they kind of really appreciate, and some of them really want to make it like kind of a daily kind of activities for the children as well, to be more engaged in art.
How about from the staff, from your colleagues? Because I know that you also conduct activities specifically for them, so they also engage with the artists, right?
Yes, that is
or
true.
even the conservationists sometimes.
Yeah, that is true. Like for instance, last month, it was artist residents from Singapore. So he specialized in botanical installments. So all the staff are like kind of invited to the studios to learn about how you do the installments. And so far, even like personally, and also the other staff too, they didn't really expect like with these plants you have in the area, that's the resources that you have, you can make like art. So most of them are really enthusiastic about it.
That's nice. And then when it comes to also having all these artists being residents and them spending really time on the island, actually for both islands, what is actually the impact on them too? So we've already chatted about the impacts on the guests and then of course on the staff, but how about on the scientists that you invite over and also the artists themselves?
I would say that most of the artists, they ask the same questions. They are happy to share the knowledge more to the people, like to the broader kind of clients, I would say, or maybe people. So that's another impact. They are kind of, they feel like this has to be always like that. And other than that, they also surprised with the small island that we have. We have also like plenty of biodiversity on the island itself. So they're really appreciative about it.
That's great. And how do you get to find all these artists and the conservationists?
So the Uberuma itself, we have our own website, and then usually it's also word of the mouth after we invited the artists, and then they will come as well from another kind of artist. I think all the artists has to come to the website. If you want to contribute, you can contribute. Just go directly to the website and apply for the essays on how you kind of contribute to the studio.
That's wonderful. So to all the scientists, budding scientists, even because we also have students actually listening right now, Henry, and also to the artists that we have in the audience, you're most welcome to get in touch with Henry through the Ubaruma website. Now, earlier you did mention that there are actually plans to expand, right? But what is that long-term plan for Ubaruma, Henry?
I would say it becomes more of the open art studio. So for the time being, we have only few the art studio, like we put it place in the forest. So I think in the future, it's going to be a lot of like site specific in the area, and then we have plenty of a diverse kind of art from different artists. So that's the long-term goal.
Really creating that lasting impact, right? If highlighting the local culture, making sure that you are not only engaging this specific group of artists or scientists, but as well as really trying to highlight what's really Nicoy and Chempedak and what's in the islands, really, but not only specific to the different flora and fauna, but I think you are also trying to highlight what life is in both islands, showcasing also the livelihood and what is the other interesting facets of life in these two beautiful islands. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Henry. That is really interesting. And we are so happy to have you tonight. And everyone, once again, thank you so much to Henry. Now, at this point, we travel to the Maldives, where sustainability is at the core of luxury. So joining us is Lawrence Mens from Six Senses Lamu, sharing how a multi-stakeholder collaborative program brings an equal voice to fishers and the resorts. Lawrence?
Great. Thank you, Irene. And very nice to see all of you. I'm just sharing my screen now. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lawrence. I'm the Director of Sustainability and Conservation at Six Senses Lamu. Six Senses is a global luxury tourism brand, and in the Maldives, in Lamu Atoll, we're lucky enough to be the only operating 5-star luxury resort. And what makes us so special is that we have the Maldives Underwater Initiative. This is an initiative run by the resort, and it involves a collaboration between resort marine biologists and biologists from our 3 partner non-government organizations, the Madge Trust, Blue Marine Foundation, and Olive Ridley Project. And together we perform meaningful conservation efforts through research, education, and community engagement. And a lot of these efforts and programs and projects that we've set up actually start as sort of pilot projects here that we're then able to apply to either other resorts or nationally at an industry level. Within the Maldives, fishing is so important, both in terms of the community and culture, also commerce. It's one of the largest industries in the Maldives, and then more so now conservation. So there's 2 main fishing industries in the Maldives. You have the tuna pole and line fishing, which hopefully everyone's heard about. It's very sustainable, small vessels, small yields, the sustainable gear method of the pole and line. But then we also have the reef fishing. And this is an industry that really picked up from tourism. So really since the 70s onwards. But it's now very important all around the Maldives. One of the issues that we face though with reef fish industry in Maldives is that there's no national or local regulation or management. There's very poor traceability of where the fish, especially if it's being bought at the mass market in the capital city, is coming from. And this can lead to sort of accidental overfishing of the stocks that we have. Prior to the establishment of our program, 41% of the reef fish that we were sourcing at the resort were undersized. So they weren't mature, they hadn't had a chance to breed and create that next generation. And on the little map, a lot of the fishing focus or intensity was actually done within those blue rectangles, which are voluntary marine protected areas, soon to be legally enforceable. But what we were finding is that there were lots of undersized fish that were being caught in marine protected areas. Often our reef fish as well will get together to do their breeding. And that means that in one or a few great afternoons or evenings of fishing, you might accidentally remove all of those breeding adults, which is a big conservation concern because that can reduce the biodiversity of our reefs. There's also a gap in the market for this program, both looking at it from a marketing and sales point of view for the resort, but also at the national level of the tourism industry in the Maldives. So that is where our Lamusila Musferia program came in, which means exemplary fisher. It was established in partnership with Blue Marine Foundation and their Maldivian affiliate group, Maldives Resilient Reefs. And it really brings together local artisanal reef fishers with the resorts. And instead of viewing either of the two groups as the problem to this reef fishing challenges that we face, frames them as the solution for it. So the key part of this is that the local reef fishers can either apply or be invited to join. They'll undergo a few bits of training with us and education, and then sign a code of conduct that basically states that they'll follow 3 rules. The first is to abide by the species catch list. So there's a national protected list and a Sixth Senses protected list. They also shouldn't be or can't be fishing in marine protected areas and have to follow the minimum size limits. So to make sure that we're only fishing mature fish. In exchange for this, there's an above market rate bonus that's paid to every fisher, as well as a monthly bonus if they supply multiple times. And then there's also safety at sea gear and equipment that can be provided, like life jackets, life rings, and soon to be vessel monitoring systems. The program also increases fisher autonomy. It provides them an official voice and platform to share their concerns and challenges that they face in our relationship with a quarterly meeting. Every fisher's catch and landing is recorded, and that means that the program is actually data-driven and it's adaptable to what might be seasonally appropriate or as we discover new information. And most importantly, it allows for the voluntary enforcement of these marine protected areas. The impact that this has had is absolutely incredible. We have 43 local fishers who have signed up to the program who are actively engaged in it. And we have a huge reduction in the undersized landing of fish. So from 45% 5 years ago, now to 1.1% out of the whole of 2024. We also have a large decrease in the fishing of marine protected areas and an increase in our guest offerings. So we've now changed our guest recreational fishing program to reflect the same sustainability code of conduct that we have, the reef fishers. And since 2020, we've sourced 27,000 kilograms of fish and seafood. The program has also led to the development of an open access online learning module or platform called Mas Mahaveshi. And this is something that everyone can join in even now and learn from it. We also engage with our guests at every opportunity to educate about this program and about the wider conservation issues surrounding it, particularly within our food and beverage teams. When guests see the menu and the local reef fish, they can actually talk to the team about it and discover, oh great, this reef fish is rainbow runner caught by Artif just earlier today. Fantastic. And from this, we did a survey of our guests who have visited, and 56% have stated that after learning about it, they now want to purchase sustainably certified fish. So the program that we've got has a change on our guest behaviors, which is fantastic. And it's also proven so successful as a pilot project here in Lamu that it's being expanded to other resorts throughout the Maldives. But this is just one of the many projects that we do within the Maldives Underwater Initiative at Six Senses Lamu. We also have pilot projects that we've done with technology, with scanning pregnant manta rays, and also EarthRanger to help protect our nesting green sea turtles and their eggs. You can read more about all of these great projects in our annual reports. I have a QR code link for it there. We also have a monthly newsletter. So if you'd like to sign up to our blue and green, you can get little monthly blasts of it all, and our social media too. But I'd just like to thank everyone for listening and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you so much, Lawrence. I'm actually trying to see if we have some questions. And thank you so much for sharing what you are actually doing in all these collaborative efforts, because you are actually making the fishers part of the solution, right? I mean, normally people would actually think that they have caused all these challenges. Okay, so back to the question. Let me check here. We have one. Okay, great that these designated areas will be officially recognized MPAs. Thus, will this be no-take zones? Because then you will have the famous spillover effect that fishers benefit from directly and support you even more.
Yes, great. Thank you. Yeah, great question. I see that one's from Sybil.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So ideally there will become no-take zones. There's sort of two versions of the marine protected areas. One of them is going to be a local island council co-managed area, and that will have an official no-take zone over these aggregation sites and then a buffer zone around it. For the 6 other marine protected areas within our atoll, at the moment, the management plan, which is in its final stages, will have reduced fishing efforts, but are monitoring at a government level for the next 2 years before it's revised for that. Really, at the moment, the only major fishing that happens in these areas is for the bait fish of the tuna, which is sort of very small, controlled level of fishing that goes on. Yeah, ideally, and what we explain and educate to everyone is if you protect the fish here, it might take a few years, but then you're going to be doing less fishing and catching more fish.
That's very true. Thank you so much, Lawrence. That is really a compelling example of how inclusive, thoughtful collaboration can, create that lasting change, not only for the resorts and the guests, but most importantly for the communities and the ecosystems that surround them. All right. So once again, thank you so much, Lawrence. And now our next speaker leads a sanctuary in the Philippines that redefines barefoot luxury. Now, everyone, please welcome Vince Lampert of Naipalad Hideaway, a place where even early-stage marine conservation efforts are already revealing meaningful progress. Right. Hi, Vince.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So my name is Vince Lampert, and I serve as the Executive Director of Naipalad Hideaway. Thank you for the opportunity to share a story that's very close to our heart, one that blends naturally with beauty, community, responsibility, and a shared hope for resilience. At Naipalad Hideaway, we are privileged to be located on the island of Siargao in the Philippines, often described as a paradise. It's an island of lush mangrove forest, vibrant coral reef, and crystal clear waters. But beyond the beauty of this ecosystem provide essential services. They support fisheries that sustain local communities. They buffer shores from typhoon and storm surges, and they can store carbon, helping mitigate climate change. Right behind the resort lies an ancient 104 hectares mangrove forest, a stunning stretch of biodiversity, a portion of the total of 5,000 hectares of the entire island. Offshore are reef and seagrass beds, once teem with life. For us, living here comes with a deep sense of stewardship. We realize that protecting this paradise means actively restoring it, and that doing so must include science, community, and also collaboration. Unfortunately, Siargau's ecosystem, like many others in the region, are under threat. The coral reef have suffered years of damage, mostly from destructive fishing practices like blast fishing, and more recently, increasingly intense typhoons devastated large areas of reef, leaving behind rubble fields instead of coral gardens. While our mangrove forest remains largely intact, it's not immune. Pollution, unregulated coastal development, and lack of awareness continue to endanger this important habitat. Species like the endangered Philippine duck, also called Anas luzonica, which rely on this ecosystem, are increasingly at risk. But this is not just an environmental risk crisis, it's also a social and economic one. Healthy ecosystems provide food security, livelihood, and cultural identity. Losing them means losing much more than biodiversity. It's a loss of safety, of sustenance, and of spirit of the place. So the question we are facing was, how do we reverse the damage? And how do we do it meaningfully and together? In response to the urgent threats facing our reef and mangroves, we launched two key programs grounded in both science and community participation. First is a Blue Sanctuary initiative that focuses on restoring coral reef through collaborative action. At the heart of this effort is our Fish Dome program, that concrete structures built with the help of our guests and also our staff that replicates natural reef forms. This dome provides shelters for juvenile fishes and serve as stable substrate for coral fragments collected from the seabed. Over time, they become new habitats, helping to reestablish marine life and previously damaged area. In parallel, we also launched a program called Mangroves for Life that is dedicated to protecting and studying our ancient 104 hectares mangrove forest. Partnering with Mindanao State University, the Zoological Society of London, Philippines, and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, we have initiated long-term biodiversity research, public education campaigns, and seagrass mapping, highlighting the critical yet often overlooked role of this habitat in fish population, recovery, and carbon storage. To deepen our understanding and broaden participation, we also introduced a citizen science program involving our staff. Team members are trained to observe and record flora and fauna across the property, contributing valuable data to our biodiversity monitoring efforts. This not only enriches our scientific base, but also fosters a strong sense of environmental stewardship within our own team at the resort. Finally, we support emerging scientists through the on-the-job training for biodiversity students and field collaboration with researchers, including studies on coral reproduction and restoration methods. Together with these initiatives, we build a foundation for long-term economic recovery led by community and informed by science. While our marine conservation program are still yet in an early stage, just launched last year actually, we begin to see meaningful signs of progress. To date, we have built and deployed about 20 fish domes, created in collaboration with our staff and visiting guests. These structures are already attracting small marine life. It's an early indicator that degraded areas are beginning to slowly recover. Beyond habitat creation, we're also contributing to broader conservation knowledge and capacity building. We have supported hands-on training for biodiversity students, helping the next generation of conservationists gain practical experience in the field. Our team is also actively involved in the National Coral and Seagrass Mapping Initiative led by the DENR Central Office, ensuring that local data inform national marine planning strategies. A recent collaboration with a PhD researcher from Southern Cross University in Australia brought new insights into coral reproductive patterns across Mindanao, that's our region. Their fieldwork here in Siargao aims to inform innovative restoration approaches, such as coral larval reseeding and mass coral culture method that could significantly accelerate reef recovery. Complementing the scientific efforts in our citizen science program, which empower our own staff to record sighting of flora and fauna on the property, this growing database contributes baseline information on species presence and seasonality while deepening environmental awareness among our own team. By connecting daily work to conservation goals, this initiative strengthens our internal culture and of care and, of course, stewardship. We know that meaningful ecological restoration takes time, but each dome placed, each data point recorded, and each partnership nurtured moves us closer to a healthier and more resilient coastal ecosystem. And we are just getting started. We remain open for further collaboration with scientists, conservation organizations, funders, because we know that the future of conservation depends on a collective action. At NIPALAD, we say, preserve Chagall today, so future generation can enjoy its beauty tomorrow. It's a reminder that we don't inherit nature, we borrow it from the next generation. In that spirit, we are building conservation not just as a duty, but as a way of life, rooted in joy, participation, and hope. Thank you everyone for listening. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Vince. And now, actually, we do have a number here of some questions for you, so please don't go yet. All right, so let me just go to the chat box. So please feel free to send all your questions. If we might not be able to raise them now, our presenters will actually be going to the chat box too to respond to your questions. And just make sure that you actually post your questions and to post it to everyone so that everybody will be able to see all your questions there. Okay. Okay, we have here, I was on a fam trip in the Philippines 2 years ago. I was actually shocked by the disregard that most so-called eco-lodges have for the environment. Okay, my question is, can visitors to the Philippines go anywhere outside NIPALAD when they visit this beautiful country where they will not be shocked by the damage that irresponsible tourism is doing? Right, so Vince,
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you for the question. I think it's a good question, and I think it's happening around us. But we are trying to be part of the program to improve the whole Chagall and not just only our land. It's happening somehow, but at the same time, we also bring our guests we bring our guests to very private and secluded places that's not full of tourists and full of people, basically. So we have a very special way of integrating our guests to the community and to the nature of Chagall to really see the beauty of Chagall. We're also talking to the local government as well to see what we can do to improve step by step the system here, the waste management system, because it is an issue and we have to face it. On site, we're doing all we can to have our own waste management system, to have our own recycling system. But it's true that the island in general has some concerns, and we are looking for ways to help the whole Chagall to develop further on that. So some politicians are open to discussion and looking for ways, which is a good thing. And on the other side, we have some roadblocks as well, some challenges as well. But we remain confident that we can make a change for Chagall.
Thank you so much for that, Vince. Yes, it's always really trying to see how everyone can really work together. Even small steps can really lead to bigger impacts in the future, so long as we just stay committed to that vision. So once again, thank you so much, Vince. It's really a powerful reminder that sustainability isn't only about systems, it's about intention and the quiet strength that emerges when purpose is guided by care, creativity, and also vision. So now, next, we head to Malaysia, where reef restoration meets hospitality with heart. Everyone, please welcome Naja Motar of Batu-Batu's Tenga Island Conservation to share their inspiring story of advocating and building relationships with local stakeholders and the creation of a sustainable tourism network for Malaysia. Naja?
Hi, Irene and all. Thank you. So I'm Naja. My real name is Nazar Murta, but you guys can call me Naja. So I'm currently the Executive Director for Tengah Island Conservations, which today I would like to talk about advocating and building relationships with local stakeholders, how we created the Sustainable Tourism Network for Malaysia. So actually, Tengah Island was derived from the love and passion of our Batu Batu Resort. We are part of the conservation unit in 2015, but after 2019, we become full-fledged NGO, where our mission is Malaysian ecosystems full of life, rich in biodiversity, where threatened species and local communities can thrive side by side. So this is a timeline where actually, the islands was once hosted the United Nations refugee, back then it's 120,000 refugees from Vietnam. And then fast forward, Batu Batu open resort in 2012. There's intriguing stories where they first encounter one nest was being poached behind of the islands, and that's where the love of protecting the key species of the areas started to evolve in 2015, and now 2019 we evolve as NGO. So currently our priority conservation areas, which involve Besar Cluster Islands, it involves 7 islands in Mersing, in Johor, Malaysia. So basically our project sites involve Mersing Islands, the mainland part, the Tengah Island, currently where Batu Batu resides, and also Pulau Besar, where the Rumah Eco, our integrated island waste management project base is. So if you can see, this is the whole 6 islands and 7 islands that we monitor every day during the nesting seasons, where my team will go and patrol all these islands to collect and relocate all the turtle nests within the islands and relocate into the hatchery in Pulau Tengah. And also this year we are advocating having another hatchery in Pulau Besar, where community became the turtle guardian of the hatchery. We also co-chair Sustainable Tourism Network, where we see that there's a myth that we need to be debunked in terms of tourism in Malaysia, where it actually can improve livelihoods, build transformative connections between people and planet, and promote care for local, cultural, and also natural heritage of the local islanders and also coastal community. So in terms of derived from the first turtle nest being rescued, now we have our own full-fledged conservation framework, where we addressing of these 4 main issues within the marine protected areas, habitat and species monitoring, and via our habitat and species monitoring and protection. There's an island waste management issue, where we are tackling and offering solutions through integrated island waste management. Sustainable tourism via a Sustainable Tourism Network, and also our outreach, education and awareness program with the local Malaysian school children and also youth. So currently, the solutions within the conservation framework is tackling in terms of habitat protection, focusing on the coral reef areas, seagrass, mangrove areas, where these are the areas for foraging for the sea turtles, dugong, and also shark within these marine protected areas. So we do restoration program, normal monitoring, survey throughout the year, and we also advocate for sea turtle protections in terms of kind of like a good relationship with Department of Fisheries and the local state governments, doing more sea turtles egg buyback program, because they are egg license collector around the islands, and we need to buy the eggs from them as well. So that's part of the thing that we champion through research, turtle tag and photo ID, and the awareness program. So it's over, and now it's a decade impact of sea turtle program within TIC, and also our Turtle Watch Camp previously within the 7 islands. So this is actually the data that we collected over the years. Surprisingly, even Pulau Tengah, where Batu Batu resides, they have one of the highest nesting for the areas. So meaning that it's showcasing that even though there's a a resort operating on the islands, it can kind of like doesn't impact the nesting of the beach of the turtles because of the management of the people of the resorts, where they close the lights, they dim the lights during the nesting season, and ensuring no guests are allowed to disturb the beach at night. So it allowing the turtles to come up safely and nest. So since 2015, over 30,000 sea turtle hatchlings has been released to the sea. So if you calculate in terms of sea turtle populations, we have kind of like another 5 to 7 years for the first population of these sea turtle hatchlings to come back to Tengah Island and over Besar cluster areas. So in terms of island waste management, we collaborate and got funding for from the Ministry of Finance and also UNDP, United Nations Development Program, where we created Rumah Eco, which is a dynamic hub for situated in Besar Islands, where it's a island waste management solutions. We have a few key solutions put in this one space, where we are now collecting the second year but database of how much island waste that can be managed by this Rumah ecosystem, where the aim is to replicate this model to another populated island, which means that this database, it's easy for us to, let's say, if I need another, how much Raiden to compose XX kilo of food, and also boat operations and so forth. So this is much of food waste composting that we have done for the Rumah Eco, where over 1.9 tons food waste have been composed and sorting, and where the collections from this recycling project also go back to the committee, where we give back the money to the committee so they can fix the moss, etc. So part of the connotations from the data, we created a sustainable practices workshop within this space, where the local committee been trained to be part of the facilitator for the Rumah Eco. It bringing into the alternative livelihood component for the islands, because at the end of the day, you wanted to move them away for heavily invested or become too much the user of the marine space within the marine protected area. So in terms of sustainable tourism livelihood, they kind of like operating in, they can provide services like cooking with community, and also helping and the exit strategy of the areas is that the local will be the runner for the Rumah Eco, so that TIC can replicate the project to another islands. So we did also roundtable for wastewater treatment off-grid sites, where we gather all those stakeholders to understand what's currently consolidate existing knowledge, data, and also kind of like trying to find solutions for the off-grid areas such as on islands wastewater program. So we are also kind of like partnering with the local government agencies, been selected by the local government agencies, where to collect data for Besar areas, which they are going for a prestigious recognition under UNDP for INSTO. So this is one of the key tourism destinations globally, where their visions to become a sustainable tourism. So TIC help in terms of data collaborations. So advocate to protect and gain. So within the space of that we work in the marine park, the marine protected area, there's a few things that are still missing, which is the implementation or activations of the marine protected area zoning. So now we are gearing up with the local agencies to really enhance their zonation, the risk assessment of the area, what is the rescue operations, and also assessing community vulnerability climate change within this area. So this kind of initiative will help to protect the key species of the area, and for sure to reduce the impact towards the islanders, and to promote more holistic and safe for the sustainable tourism and a model reference for other islands within the Johor MPA network. So the rebranding of Pulau Besar as Malaysia's first in-store destination also it promote responsible low impact tourism. We don't want to promote masses tourism. It's more to the carrying capacity of the areas where we wanted to showcase that you can gain more by protecting this area and showcasing the pristine life of the key species of the area. This is the proposed donation, the example of the donation for Pulau Tengah based on tourism and conservation activities, where my GIS officer map out this area where does the snorkelers goes and where does the boat can park. So it reduce the impact where or where the boat and also any water activities within the area, and ensuring also that the reef and seagrasses are intact and not much stirring from the boat movement. So part of it also that this year we aim to launch Rumah Eco officially and also the sustainable tourism package, and also we are promoting the Besar Island Festival. It's part of the thing that to advocate that you can enjoy the islands but sustainably, and also showcasing the loss of the culture of the islanders. They have their own food, they have their own local dance. So this is part of thing that we wanted to showcase as well within the Besar Island Festival. And also the data monitoring through for install and immersing harbor center activation through cultural representation and also integrated island risk management. In terms of sea turtle population study, there's not much known about where does the Johor turtles coming from. So we are aiming to do a satellite telemetry for the turtles this year, so that we can know that where does the Johor turtles population go, because the hypothesis is that they went up to Riau. So the connectivity within the oceans are very important, so that we can collaborate with our regional partners and ensuring that we can advocate more within this area. And also we have seagrass and dugong study, where it contribute to the knowledge and strengthen of the dugong sanctuary of the Besar cluster areas. So this is via drone survey, boat survey, and also dive survey. So this is a very critical vulnerable species that one of the things that we wanted to showcase is that this is the indicator of the environments there. So this is GIC impact to date, and we really focus and hope that the impact for the next decade will be more, and we can engage more with the community, and we can gain more by preserving this environment that we have. So thank you from TIC and so Batu Batu. And we, if you wanted to know more about our project, so this is the QR code, so you guys can see and go to our website and learn more about our project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yes. No, I was just saying that we do have here one question for you, just real quick on waste management, actually. So how far have you managed to totally phase out single-use plastics that we know cannot be recycled? A myth which is promoted by the plastics industry.
Understand. So one of the key awareness about the single-use plastic is that you have to target the what you call it, the community, and make them understand that actually they can one, because the state, the policy, the current policy is like no longer provide plastic within the what you call it, shops operations. So actually Malaysia is already transitioned into the single-use plastic. No more what you call it, single-use plastic being provided. Everybody have to bring their own bag. So this is like from the national point, from top to down. So all states and also all what you call it, business operators no longer can provide a single-use plastic. So this is the key of the movement within the Malaysia. That's the best thing, meaning that the policy, the advocacy was done from top to down, where it's easy to phase out the single-use plastic, because meaning that what you call it, the demand of asking the single-use plastic is reducing tremendously, and they don't have to provide anymore. So understand that it's a myth where you can you kind of like can phase out, but this is the what you call it, one of the first step. Because no longer that if you buy a few things you can get one plastic, no more in Malaysia. So you have to bring your own bag. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much for that, Naja. And well, your story shows that, building trust and deep-rooted relationships can really lay the foundation for a national movement in sustainable tourism. So once again, thank you so much. All
Thank you for
right.
having me.
So, of course, always. Now, at this point, we would like to welcome Margarida Suarez from Green Breeze. Everyone, she's actually one of the newest members of the Long Run. So joining us from Portugal, she brings in a fresh perspective on sustainability, showing how a maritime tourism company can offer high-end experiences that connect guests with nature, cultural heritage, and responsible travel. Margarida?
Thank you. Thank you. Let me share my screen. So, hi everyone. I'm Margarida Soares, a sustainability consultant working with Green Breeze, a boutique charter company based in Troia, in Portugal. And Green Breeze offers private maritime experiences in one of the most ecological and beautiful coastal areas of Portugal. This includes the Sado River estuary and the Arabida coastline. And what sets them apart is their strong commitment to low impact luxury. So they operate with a deep respect for the surrounding environment. Aiming to create meaningful nature-based experiences, thus inspiring care and reflection rather than consumption or spectacle. And one of their key challenges is precisely finding a balance between local conservation and a growing tourism demand. So Green Breeze operates in a UNESCO protected marine zone where regulation is really necessary and strict, but also limiting when compared to what conventional operators offer. And it's important to say that currently this region is under pressure, and market expectations don't always align with this nature respectful tourism. And as with many nature-based businesses, they often need to reframe what luxury and value mean for the guest. So with having all this in mind, Green Breeze chose a very intentional path. And I would like to highlight three decisions, important components of their operation. First, they operate a Green Line 48 fly hybrid yacht, one of the only hybrid charter yachts in the region, and in fact in Portugal, that allows for quiet navigation and a low or a reduced fuel impact. Then they decided not to pursue volume, so instead they run fewer but high quality tours each season, all private and all personalized. And third, and this is a very special one, because they made a responsible choice not to include wildlife chasing activities in their tours, like dolphins watching. So instead, they invite guests to connect with nature through silence or slowness or education. Although on many trips, what happens is like the dolphins are the ones approaching the yacht, since the electric motors are very, very quiet. And I will be able to share a short video with you in the end. So all these decisions have paid off. First, guests' feedback couldn't be better, and they reflect a growing desire for these sort of activities, intimate ones. And Green Breeze team is starting to gain trust within the community, and is starting to be seen as a reliable and conservation-minded operator within the region. And commercially, they are starting to see very positive results. So by focusing on a niche market that values sustainable practices, Green Breeze is growing based on integrity rather than quantity. And I think this is crucial. So about the team, regarding the team is a very small team, and local team deeply rooted in the region. So I will start with Joanna. Joanna is the general manager. She leads operations with a clear conservation vision. João is the CFO. He handles the financial department with a sustainable finance mindset. Tomasz is the skipper. He grew up on these waters, and Sara manages and ensures all the guests' interactions, ensuring that every experience is quite unique. So they're not just offering tours, they're just like guardians of this coastline, as we like to say. And of course, I'm honored to be working with them in strengthening their sustainability approach. So if you're curious to see how this conservation-led tourism works or looks like in the water, we are pleased to invite you to join one of Green Breeze experiences. And on behalf of the team, I would like to say that they are open to partnerships, collaborations, or just sharing stories and strategies. And for Green Breeze, it's a huge pleasure to be part of the long run movement. I would like to invite you to watch this short video that I think leaves no one indifferent. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Margarita. I do have here one question for you, and let me just go over here. Now, being one of the, being one, we're also happy, and also thank you for being part of the long run, and welcome once again to the
Thank you.
community. So, and it's so nice to see you also coming. In that video is so lovely. So my question is, why was it important for you to embrace sustainability?
Well, again, I think that as a business, and both Joanna, João, they have this in mind. So this is not a trend, right? And I think that companies in general, they must embrace this movement. And as a sustainability consultant, I'm a bit suspicious, but I think they are taking the right step, because this makes a difference, and especially in a region such as this one, as I said, that is a UNESCO protected marine zone.
Yeah.
So to make the difference, not only if we speak in terms of the environment, but also socially, and in terms of as a company, as a business, it makes total difference to embrace these different pillars and build something different. So especially in and the company is very small, as you can see for the number of elements in the members of their team, but they're taking the right step, because the market really values this sort of approach.
Yes.
So again, they opt for this journey of choose quality rather than quantity, and I think in
Yes.
terms of sustainability, this also ensures the long term, that the business will be successful in the long term.
All right. Yes, I totally agree. And thank you so much for that, Margarita.
welcome.
And yeah, that was just a very meaningful close to this batch. And just reminding us that new voices, when rooted in purpose, can really send waves of impact far beyond their shores. So once again, thank you. Now,
you.
with that, yes, thank you. So for everybody, don't go anywhere just yet. We're turning up the energy for a very special segment, the hot seat, which is going to be hosted by our very own Rosie, Head of Communications, Brand and Marketing at The Long Run. Rosie, over to you.
Thanks, Irene. What an awesome start to the first day of our show. So we have introduced something new called the hot seat. You may have noticed in our communications that there was an innovation and technology sort of undertone to our theme for this year. And what we've done is we've invited 2 technology platforms to the show this year to share with us how tech in the hands of our members and coupled with citizen science is proving to be an amazing addition to the guest experience and truly enhancing conservation in many of these very sensitive areas and at scale. So to kick us off today, we welcome Bruce Jones, who's the partnerships lead for EarthRanger, a platform which spans the globe and has been used by a number of our members to great impact. So without any further ado, the floor is yours, Bruce.
Thanks so much, Rosie, and hello, everybody. And let's just see what I've got here. I think I'm sharing the wrong screen, am I?
Yeah, we can see our website. Nice marketing there for us.
I've shared the wrong screen. Beg your pardon. Stand by. There we go. All right.
Gotcha.
Okay, thanks. Thanks so much. So what I wanted to do is that EarthRanger is a tool that's used a lot by the reserve management and external conservationists and ecologists. But I did want to talk about how long run members can use it within that sort of environment as well. So the first thing I wanted to cover was just to say, share what it actually is. It provides a centralized view of everything that's happening in a protected area or an area of interest. And that could be a number of different things. It could be animals that are moving around. It could be people, vehicles, and any other sort of information that can be captured in the field or remotely sensed through satellites and other types of information. And they're very specific. So what EarthRanger's core strength is to integrate a lot of different data sources or systems that collect and create data and bring them into one platform, being our web application. So if we just look at those different types of data to begin with, it could be remote automated feeds, which could be things like, are there fires in an area, or what is the greenness of an area? Are there illegal fishing activities in a marine protected area? Are there camera traps that are capturing certain images and which then have machine learning applied to it so that you can isolate particular species? So that is the one type of automated feed that comes in. The other is tracked subjects, as we refer to them. So a subject is anything that is, it could be an animal, could be a person, could be a vehicle. So if you think of all of those 3 different types of subject that move around in a protected area, from an operational point of view, you can manage things really easily. But it also gives you a command and control, but also if you have guides out in the field, you know exactly where they are, they know where they are, they know where their counterparts are, and they could, if given the right permissions, know where certain animals are that are being tracked. So I spoke about the different platforms. We have 2 platforms. There's a web application, which is running on a computer, running on Google Chrome browser. And that's typically in an office or in an operations room and projected onto a big screen. And then for people in the field, they would use a mobile app, which is a subset. It's not the same app. It's a slightly smaller subset of what's in the web application. For people who need to navigate around a protected area, go to certain events or to different subjects, and also to capture data. And that was the third type of data capture, where you're capturing in-field information on a number of different topics that has some sort of time and geographic reference to it. So it could be a guide saying, here's a key species that they've cited, or it could be a pothole in a road, or it could be some sort of illegal activity again. And then they could then navigate to other points as well. So the way that the software is used and where we originated from was law enforcement, but we've expanded way beyond that. to include things like human-wildlife conflict, ecological management. There's a big component of animal movement behavior, understanding that, and then other relatively mundane topics like logistics. So is a fence broken? I mentioned a pothole in the road. And the great thing is that it doesn't cost anybody anything except for ourselves. So we're a fully funded philanthropic venture. We host the software in the cloud. The software will always be yours. We do the software development at our costs. So there will never be any cost of EarthRanger to the end user. There might be some equipment costs like a computer and internet and smartphones to capture the data. But that's about all that you would expect to lay out. So if we now look at how long-range members can get involved, I did mention guides. So guides going out into the field, they're an extra set of eyes, and what they can do is any sort of thing that is relevant to any other part of the protected area, they could capture on the app, and then that would get fed through into the database and end up in the right places. So it could be things like wildlife sightings, could be, I mentioned potholes, washaways, illegal activities. A lot of ecological data is collected by some of the guides, and things like broken fences. And this would be done on a mobile app or on a tablet. And in some cases, you could involve some of the guests, where you could give them a tablet. It's really easy to use, and the guide could guide them into saying, well, we've seen a pride of lions, let's capture this as a key species sighting. And the 15-year-old who's on the vehicle can always capture that really easily. And what this does is it enables the guests to become a lot more involved in the activities within the protected area. And they want to do more than just to see what's out there. They want to be involved and know that they are also making a difference. So by capturing some of this key information, they get this feeling of involvement. Other type of things that can happen is that you could have a central operations room where a lot of the activities take place. And I know that 1 or 2 long-run members have actually opened up a window into a room like you can see on the screen here, where they can be brought through. Typically high net worth individuals can see how things are being run, and they feel a lot more comfortable to provide funds to those protected areas if they know exactly what's going on. A lot of the time, some of the information is confidential, so they won't see everything, but they can get an insight into what's happening in the protected area. Something that is quite common these days is that tourists are getting involved with some of the actual activities. What we've got here is a view of a tracking device being put onto a rhino, and guests pay money to get involved in that. And again, they feel a lot more involved and feel as if they are contributing to conservation as well. So as I mentioned right at the beginning, long-run members are typically the lodges that are involved, but now and most of our clients are normally the protected area managers. But with those two working together, the long-run members can contribute to the protected area management. And here's a list of some of the sites, long-run members that are actually using EarthRanger, and that this is expanding. These are all African, but we are worldwide. We've got a lot of sites in Latin America, South America, and that's where a lot of the citizen science comes in as well. So we've integrated tools like iNaturalist and eBird into EarthRanger. So citizen scientists can contribute to those databases that are out there. So I'll leave it at that and see if there are any questions, Rosie.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, it really is powerful, and we look forward to seeing that list of member users grow. I know there are a few in Latin America that are potentially coming on board soon, so that's really exciting. We have got one question, which maybe you can answer in 30 seconds before we crack on with our member presentations. And that is, how do you address the resistance to the adoption of technology in conservation? I think a lot of these practitioners are pretty old school. They're obviously operating in very remote areas and are generally offline when they're in the field. How are you tackling that and really positioning a platform like EarthRanger as a trusted tool and an opportunity to scale your impact in conservation rather than detract from it?
Okay, thanks, Rosie. Yeah, it's becoming easier and easier as people become more familiar with smartphones. That is about as literate as one needs to be, because we do run off smartphones. And as a bigger proportion of people working in the field are younger generations, that comes naturally. You do get the odd site that is stuck in the past, but they're soon catching up these days. We do also have offline capabilities. So normally you would have some sort of connectivity around lodges or operations rooms. But once you get out into the field, there's often no signal. There are satellite-based communications and other tools, but we've written the software so that it can be used offline. So tracks are buffered on the phone, any observations are buffered on the phone. And once the people on phones get back to the areas where there's Wi-Fi, everything just synchronizes automatically through to the cloud. So we're making it easier and easier as possible for less literate, computer literate people to use it. And that includes different languages as well. So I think we're up to about 7 or 8 different languages from around the globe now. English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Khmer, Thai. I did mention Spanish and Portuguese, and that's growing daily. So that makes things a lot easier as well for people in the field.
Fantastic.